Omerin, and this is my section assignment 5. In this video, I will discuss either the energy or environmental crisis of the 1970s or the globalization/terrorism in the early 21st century ushered in a period of decline in the United States. And I'll also explain what roles the conservative politics in the 1980s played in these roles. I will now discuss the energy and environmental crisis. During the 1970s, there was a large amount of people who lived in suburbs, which was farther away from their workplace. People relied more on their cars to take them from place to place, home to work, to their child's school, and to visit their families, even to travel. This increased America's need for oil, which was a primary source to power their cars. There was also a need for a better way to transport people from place to place. Expressways, roads, and underpass, for example, were built. Like in this picture, these highways were used to carry people from suburbs to big cities. Building these roads did lead to more jobs, but it also encouraged the use of oil, which increased the price of oil, and also increased that also increased the levels of toxics released by cars, which didn't help the environment as well. America's dependency on oil has led to our decline as a society. The demand for oil has led us to venture in foreign oils. This graph shows the amount of oil compared to other energy sources consumed by the United States. It shows over time, with a large spike in the 1970s, the amount of oil that is used by America. I would say this spike was the start of the decline in the United States. With the demand of oil at a high, there was a need for an alternate energy source. Nuclear power became that option. Nuclear power plants were built in the United States as an attempt to create power that didn't depend on foreign countries. Power plants did create viable energy, but it was very dangerous for the environment, the workers of the plant, and the people who lived around the plant. For example, there was an accident at 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania, which led to thousands of people forced to evacuate their homes after a nuclear plant failed. They were supposed to help the energy crisis, but it ended up adding to the environmental crisis, which made more pollution and endangered the lives with nuclear waste. Looking at our society today, we are still in an energy crisis. We are not, if more, still have a high demand of oil, which has had so much effect on lives and jobs and has challenged us as a nation. Globalization and terrorism can be tied back to the energy crisis. Now, I will discuss globalization in the early 20th century and how it has affected American decline. This image shows large name brand companies covered in the parts of the world's continents. This is a great example of globalization. Americans wanted things faster, cheaper, easier, newer, which could apply to us today. This led to the creation of discount stores and outsourcing of jobs. Outsourcing of jobs allowed companies to make products cheaper and sell them at a lower cost. This caused small businesses to close due to the fact that they could not keep up with the large companies' low prices. The market was also very dominated by large companies. Americans did not care about the process as long as they got what they wanted at a cheap price. This could connect back to the oil issue. The demand of oil, I believe, carried over to globalization, which is why I believe the energy crisis led to the decline of America, setting the tone to how we reacted to globalization. The first decade of the 21st century was dominated by terror and terrorists. An example of this would be 9/11, a tragic event that killed many people. The Al Qaeda's were the attackers of this event, which was led by Osama bin Laden. This put the United States in a position where they felt like they needed to retaliate and start a war. The war put us in a bad position. War costs money, and at this time, the United States did not have the necessary needs to fund for a war. This graph shows the number of fatal terrorist attacks in the United States from 1990 to 2011. You can see that there is a large amount of attacks throughout the year and some fatal attacks. I would conclude that the amount of attacks in the 1970s stemmed from the energy crisis and hunt for oil. A lot of the oil used in America comes from the Middle East. The United States fought and created alliances with countries over energy, which was not a good look towards some groups like the Al Qaeda. Osama bin Laden attacks. Uh, the Osama bin Laden attack was led to put fear in the United States to prevent them from engaging in ties with Middle Eastern countries. 9/11 was the first time another country has successfully executed a large attack since Pearl Harbor. It was a horrible time in the United States that led to war with the Middle East. This alone is not what caused America to decline. It was the energy crisis and the need for oil. America believed in taking what they wanted or needed through globalization, and our attitude towards oil and countries with oil added to the decline. In conclusion, I believe that it was the environmental and energy crisis that led to the decline in the 1970s. Globalization and terrorism were direct results of the environmental and energy crisis.